So there you go. Jax Black, Amanda Marie. Ryan, guys, will be reaching out in your DMs on Instagram to get your information and get you a shirt. Just handling some business, Coach. It's a long day.
I know, but there's nobody better to do it than y'all, so I'm sure it'll work out well.
I appreciate that.
Speaking of getting in those DMs to find out about your t-shirt giveaway, Coach Trina was loud about staying out of her players' DMs. Maybe my
favorite thing loud in the DMs. Other coaches, no.
Maybe my favorite thing to happen of this offseason. I am proud of you just for taking a stand.
Yeah, I think that we're all competing, right? We all want to win, but I do think that there's just always going to be a code and a way to do things. And I think that we just need to move with respect and make sure that we are keeping the main thing, which is these student athletes.
You want to add anybody?
Nobody's watching. There's definitely not 3,600 people in this room. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's it. We have to do that. We have to, I think you have to speak up sometimes, otherwise people think that it's okay to do things the way they're doing them, and they can do what they want, just not over here with us.
You can attest this portal stuff is chaos. I mean, that's a big part of it is the tampering that's going on. As a coach, how do you keep your sanity through the month of April? Because it is bananas.
What the one thing that I noticed more than anything is just that we just don't have a break. And whether you had a trying season or a great season, there's just no time to decompress. And so you have coaches that are going right from your last game right into recruiting. And honestly, that's been happening the whole time. You got to retain your roster. You have to start to anticipate who's leaving so that you can start looking at the portal and who you may need to bring in. And I just remember a time when we just were able to celebrate the year, right? Just making it through and everybody, being kept in one piece. And I think that that's the hardest adjustment for me is that there is no break. There's no time to reset and take a look at what's next. You just keep rolling.
So 15-14, first above 500 season since 2019-2020. Did last year vindicate that you guys are moving in the right direction, or is that more of, I want to see more? Like I'm not really satisfied after year two.
Oh, definitely want to see more. Certainly not satisfied. I think what we try to do though is we said from the beginning, like we're going to keep track of all these small victories until they add up to the big ones. And we've had a lot of success as a staff, and it's so important for us to be where our feet are and say this was really good for where this program is and where we're going. Is obviously we've won 25 games in a season. We've won an NCAA tournament game. There's just been some things, and you have to be intentional about allowing that to not overshadow the progress that you're making. But satisfied, absolutely not. And we're going to get to work as soon as we can get these kids on campus and making sure we take another step forward.
And taking that step forward, you have to do so without Jillian Hayes. How does Cincinnati women's basketball move on from such an influential and impactful player?
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. And the good news is that until she figures out where she's going to play in the fall, she'll be around. And she loves this place and the city of Cincinnati so much that she'll be more than willing to come in here and sharpen her tool set too, but to help make us better. What you lose is the experience. There may be somebody else collectively that we can get rebounds or, even get points in the paint, but her leadership, just the fact that she showed up every day and worked hard and you could depend on her. She was just so reliable, and as talented as the classes we're bringing in and as happy as we are with our returners, we know that experience is what we're going to miss the most.
Gotcha.
Here in the chat, somebody asked, thanks for coming on and talking about the team. Can you talk a little about your staff and how you build up your coaches?
Yeah, for sure. In this space, they're obviously my favorite people. When we talk about family and sisterhood, we got literal there when I hired my sister a couple of years back when we were in Memphis. But the cool part for me is to always watch them interact with each other. for me to walk into the office or leave the office and come back and just hear there's a party going on, because they're laughing and joking. And at the same time, when it's time to get down to business, there's not a harder working group than the group that I have here. Top to bottom, doesn't matter who it is, whether it's recruiting or it's making sure that our kids are taken care of, and meals and travel is where it's supposed to be. I don't know. I'm really fortunate. I had an opportunity to speak at the NCAA Basketball Academy about recruiting and developing and retaining a staff. And it just made me even more appreciative when you look back at our pictures, like some of our candidates, and that it literally just looks like friends hanging out and people having a good time. So I'm really fortunate to have them.
To elevate the Abbeys, you need a phone book, probably.
For sure. It's you want to talk about great things come in small packages. Those are two hardworking Northern Kentuckians that everybody is really happy to have here and really proud of. And it is honest, coming to work every day is not coming to work. Two things are important for us, and that's student athlete centered. Right. You wake up every day. How can we make sure they have a great experience? And when they graduate, would they choose to be a Bearcat again? And just the second part is being prideful in the work that you put out there. We want to be the example we expect. We want our kids to work hard. We want them to take pride in Cincinnati being across their chest. And we have to do the same thing, too.
Abby's dad's the best. Have you tried to get him on staff yet?
Not yet. But I don't think they want to be on staff. I think they just like showing up and cheering.
He's a great coach. I know.
I heard that you would know.
He coached us to a city championship in baseball.
Yes, I'm aware, because he doesn't brag about it, but every once in a while when we are sitting in the offices talking about our families in general, our parents and our athletic lineage comes up, and I've heard that he was a really awesome coach.
He was an awesome human. He was also my 6th grade teacher.
Oh. Now that's news. I didn't know that.
Yeah, he was my 6th grade teacher. So
he's gonna get on you. He's gonna get on you for aging him here in a second.
Well, he was young. He was a young teacher.
Okay, there you go.
Teacher. Yeah.
Okay.
Talk about the incoming group. Everybody knows about D, but some additions from the portal and some freshmen as well. You got a lot of new life, new blood coming into the program.
We do. We have a great versatile group. We have a couple point forwards, which includes D, but also Callie Barrett, some people that you're going to see handle the ball at 6 feet. That's going to make us really great in transition. Kalia DeVillasi, who's coming in to be the point guard of the future. That kid is extremely talented. She's disciplined. She's all the things that you want in a point guard. And we always tell her she's a girl's girl. Cheers for everybody. You watch her on social media. She's the first one leaving comments and sharing everybody's stuff, and just going to grow into a really good leader for us. Joya Crawford down in Tennessee made it to state championship game again. So what we're bringing in is toughness, but winners. People who have winning behaviors. Paige is going to come in here and shoot the leather off the ball. We're excited about that. Picked up Kylie Torrance late, which was a great get in terms of athleticism and an impact on the floor on both ends. And then this transfer portal was good to us too. We were able to pick up Maya Perry, who's an Ohio girl. So that always makes us happy. She used to come back and play in front of her family, but she was the third highest 3-point shooting percentage NCAA last year. And for those of us who watch our games, you can enjoy like our heart and our hustle rebounding, but we didn't make a lot of shots. And so she's going to be able to help Reagan stretch the defense some. And last but not least, we got Mary coming in. We got some big bodies in the Big 12, so we went and got us another one to back up Destiny and Delaney too.
You talked earlier about wanting to shape your team to where people look back and think, I would choose Cincinnati again. Well, you yourself chose Cincinnati again when you came back to coach. So it is 513 Day. What does this city mean to you?
Yeah, for me, the minute that I came on campus, there was some uncanny similarities. I grew up on Clifton Avenue, grew up on Martin Luther King. So when I pulled up on campus and there's an intersection of Clifton and Martin Luther King, I said, oh, well, this just may be home. But it was the support from day one. And in basketball, women's basketball particularly didn't have the visibility, but the way that we still felt that the community was behind us, the way that we still felt that we were important and that people looked to us for entertainment, people looked up to us as young role models, for the students that were in the city. So that to me will always be what it is. It's the reason why we were able to sign this recruiting class. It's the city, it's the people, it's the possibilities, it's the co-oping, it's the internships and all the connectivity that you can have outside of just being an athlete and being a part of the university. And that's what I remember the most. I just remember the people. And so I come back here again, and some of these same people are here. And I think that speaks volumes when you are decades later and people said, no, I'm not going to leave. I love it here. And that's how we encourage our team to be. Let's get embedded and connected into the community because Cincinnati is such a special place.
What player or players do you think need to take the biggest step for next season? And are you willing to assign that to a true freshman, or do they kind of get handled in a different manner when looking at that?
We handle them differently in the beginning. And then they'll play a certain amount of minutes or we'll play a certain amount of games and I'll say, all right, that freshman year stuff is over. You got enough under your belt. You got to come on. But certainly I think you have to coach them. Not only are they freshmen and are they transitioning, but the majority of them are coming away from home. So it's one thing to have a bad game and get a pep talk from dad and a hug from mom or vice versa. And now you don't have that. And so just creating that sense of community within our team and that chemistry is important. We're fortunate because we were able to go to Italy in August. So we'll get a couple games in that way and some extra practices this summer. And that was intentional. So shout out to everyone, especially John Cunningham, who supported that, and Maggie and our UCATS group that did so much work, making sure that we could give ourselves a little bit of an advantage, right? Having 6 freshmen, 8 newcomers to play some games. So, everybody's going to expect Dee to come in here and just tear it up. And trust me, we hope that she does, but we're going to support her in her journey. She's got a lot of pressure. I mean, she's a hometown hero, and we got to make sure that while we're pushing her and challenging her, she understands that it is okay to be a freshman and have freshman days and freshman games. And I think we have enough talent, though, that it's going to be able to help her with that. So Destiny Thomas and Reagan Jackson are the two, that have to continue to take steps forward, but be great leaders for our new people.
I'm sure making sure everyone has their passports has not been a massive headache at all for that coming in August.
Now you're referring back to this phenomenal staff I have. I have not checked for one passport, but I do absolutely trust that everyone will have their passport and be able to get on that plane come August.
That's awesome.
The IPF is just days away at this point from opening up. So how soon before you and Coach Wes Miller start put together your action plan for a basketball practice facility?
First of all, you ask me, do not ask him. Okay, he's been here longer than me, and so he's probably wanted one way longer than I have. Here's the thing: you always have this really cool thing about being in a city, but our reality is a lot of the time you're landlocked, right? And so you can have all these visions and these aspirations, but that's why we build up here. That's why Varsity Village and where we work has 8 floors. So I think we would love to have a practice facility, but the great thing about Wes and I is that we get things worked out and nothing a conversation can't fix. And us understanding that we both have jobs and we're competitors and we want to have a great experience for our kids. And so we talk about it, but yeah, you ask him if he can have a practice facility, he'd snap his fingers and build one immediately.
He's got the money to do it, right?
Say that.
I said he's got the money to do it, right? He can get
That's
it done.
why we're talking about 513 Day of Giving. Athletics Impact Fund. Go ahead. Just throw all the money in there. So as soon as they can figure out where we can put it, we can just build it right away with no issues with money or anything.
Marcus wants you to know
Bearcats.com/513. Get that in real quick.
There you go.
Marcus wants you to know, shout out coach. He did go to UC with you. So he wanted to say
Okay.
hi there.
Hey,
And then
Marcus.
Bearcat 101 asks how your relationship is with Coach West.
Yeah, it's a good time every time we talk. Whether it is we're cheering for each other, texting back and forth about great game or head up, you'll get the next one. Again, sharing a facility, even we're in constant communication. I don't know. I like Wes. I think he's a good guy, and I think that he cares about these kids way beyond basketball in the court. He proves that. It shows that in the way he interacts with them and the way that we see them throughout the building. I think these kids get better when they're in his program. He's hired really awesome people. I know he's had some new hires here in the last couple of weeks, so we'll get closer to, but he's always hiring good guys, people who are going to develop his kids and keep the culture where it needs to be. So I think we have a great relationship, and and on our rough days, we sit in each other's office some days and talk about how crazy this madness is, but that we'll get on the other side of it. We'll survive it. It'll be okay.
You talked about the basketball stuff with Dee. How do you help her handle the expectations of being from Cincinnati, having the type of hype that she did as a top 10 recruit basically throughout her entire high school career? How do you help her with that? Because she's going to have a weight on her shoulders, whether she wants it or not, that you're going to have to help her through early in her career, especially.
Yeah, we're all going to help her through that. But during that process of recruiting her, I told her, hey, here's the thing. You are going to have pressure. I'm going to have pressure. We're going to be stressed. But let's go ahead and do that together. Let's go ahead and walk this journey. My teammates, my coaches, they love me. They think that I'm great and that we're going to do a great job, but they want to be in the Final Four last year. And I'm like, yo, just give us a second. Just, just hold on. And so I joke with Dee about that all the time. Like, you're going to have, when people believe in you, you're going to have expectations, and it's not a negative thing, but we certainly are going to do our best to walk with her through that journey and not allow it to be something that turns this into something that she can't enjoy. And we want her she's a teenager. We want her to continue to love basketball and to love playing. And she's so humble and so unselfish. My joke about this freshman class is that they're going to be out here looking like the Globetrotters, driving me insane. They all pass the ball so much that we're going to go from, kind of a one-on-one style that we've had to now you're going to see like 10 passes and I'll be screaming at somebody to take the easy open shot and not kick it out, to somebody who's wide open for a three when you had an 80% shot in the paint. But I love that about this group. And she is the one with a great level of humility. So we'll help her through it, and protect her as much as we can, but expectations are good.
You're going to have to do the opposite where, coaches will do like 5 passes before you can get a shot.
Right.
Like 2 passes and shoot.
No, I'm telling we already are starting. We talk about in our meetings, we're going to put like 15 seconds on the shot clock. Like just to force them, like you have to score. You have to score. I do not want to shoot the ball under 5 seconds every possession because you want to pass the ball so much. But I would rather have that than have a team, that's selfish and only cares about their individual stuff. So I'm not complaining.
That's what people don't know about basketball in terms of like the finer points. Passing is really what is the lost art, I think, in basketball. Making the right pass, making the good pass, making the pass that leads the hockey assist, if you will, the pass that leads to the, I think Corey Evans mentioned it when we interviewed him when he was talking about what he's looking for. It's processing, right? Where the processor is fast. You don't get the loading screen a lot. Is that recruitable? Can you really go find that?
Listen, we have a lot of really talented players on this team, but what you just talked about is Kalia DeVillasi, up and down, sideways. That kid, not only does she have great vision, but she has great execution. A lot of time guards can see but you have to make a decision to make the correct pass, right? Is it a bounce pass, a chest pass? And she can get flashy in a great way, because I think that that's where we are in women's basketball with our visibility. Like, people want to see some excitement, and if you're not going to dunk, then you better be making threes and some behind the back passes. And watching her be fundamental, who she's also related to Muggsy Bogues, and you're going to see this when you watch her play. She has some very, it's kind of uncanny. Like, she has some mannerisms that if you were fortunate enough to watch him play, you'll see in her a little bit. And I don't know how much she actually watched him play. So, genetics or something else. But she can really, really pass that ball, and she enjoys it and loves it. I'll have to encourage her to be more aggressive and seek her own and hunt her own shot. But you're going to enjoy watching that from her, especially.
Phyllis wants to say hello. Looking forward to the upcoming season. Everybody loves Phyllis. Hi, Phyllis.
We do. We love the favorites. Hi, Phyllis. Thank you.
We love Bob. Bob went on a road trip with us.
Okay.
To Allen Fieldhouse. We
Okay.
we rented a van and took the BCJ staff to Allen Fieldhouse. We had an open seat. So I said, Bob, you want to come? And Bob hopped in. Bob was rapping at one point in time. He was freestyling, which I hate myself for not getting video of Bob in the driver's seat of the van freestyling.
You missed that.
Yeah, that would have gone viral.
It absolutely would have.
We sent him back to Phyllis a changed man.
I believe that too, and she's still around, so it must have not been too bad.
No, it was great. We loved it, and Phyllis got like 3 days, free of Bob.
I think that anybody who's been married that long, they probably appreciate a couple of days where they can get a chance to miss each other. So no, but they're awesome. We appreciate them.
I said it kind of in passing, like, Bob, we got an open spot, and Phyllis was like, "You're going on that trip."
Well, there you go. There's your answer.
All right, Coach. Well, we appreciate it. It's a great day. I think we have Reagan coming up at 7:30.
Okay.
So a little bit more love for the women's basketball program coming up here during the 513 marathon. But
we appreciate that.
Time to make that big jump in the Big 12, right? A couple of years to figure it out. Now it's time to make the jump.
Yeah, I'm with you. And trust me, no one's more impatient than us. We're like, let's get this thing rolling. But just thankful for that first 2 years and all the players that were on the team. And despite this portal situation, I think it's so critical that we remember, when we say someone once a Bearcat, always a Bearcat, that also means if they feel like one way or the other that another place suits their basketball interests, that doesn't mean that they're not family, So you'll still see some of those folks that played in other schools in the stands after they graduate, because they'll come back and they're always welcome where they played, and that's right here.
We appreciate it, and tell Abby I said what's up.
All right, I sure will.
All right. Thanks, Coach. Have a great day.
Thanks for having me.
Coach.
Have a good one.